I'm Mark Seifter.
And I'm Linda Zayas Palmer.
And this is Arcane Mark.
Hello, welcome to Arcane Mark.
Arcane Mark. Build a settlement workshop. Today, we're going to build a settlement. And to do that, we're going to take ideas and votes from chat, and we're going to turn those ideas and votes into a brand new settlement.
We've built settlements a few different times before on this show. We've wound up with a settlement that is inside of the throat of a mountain. We've wound up with a settlement that's like kind of half underwater and half on land. We've wound up with all sorts of stuff. We wound up with a Galsagori settlement.
Yep. We wound up with a settlement, Gamayan settlement on the moon.
Oh, wait, sorry. It was not a Galsagori. A Gamayan settlement on the moon, yes.
We've done a lot of things.
We've done a lot of different kinds of settlements.
So to get us started, we asked people in chat to come up with concepts. And if you're still in chat, then we're continuing to ask you to do that. So type up a concept or idea in chat. Mm-hmm. It can be as simple as something like Linda gave. I mean, let's not do an underwater city again, but it could be underwater city. But it could also be more complicated by talking about a form of government or talking about an ancestry
or like a major challenge that they face, like a settlement that is hostage to a dragon or
settlement in a blighted land,
or like a settlement that a settlement that's on an airship, or like a settlement that's
under an undead curse.
Yeah.
Like, whatever the concept is, we need a good concept for a settlement before we can start building a settlement. You can't just go into the settlement and be like, okay, the first thing we're going to do is figure out what its settlement modifier ability is.
A settlement where everyone lives inside of a sapient mushroom. A settlement where,
Or be like, the entire theme of this settlement is going to be what languages are spoken, listed in order alphabetically.
Settlement where everyone needs to learn elemental languages. All right.
Then we have some ideas. So, idea one is a nomadic settlement.
I see Rico's very specific
nomadic settlement guerrilla war camp. Then there is a settlement in hell.
And
then we have a treetop village.
Lots of good ideas.
Okay, those are all good. They're very different from each other.
Absolutely. Very different sizes and very different feels.
Unless it was a guerrilla war camp in the trees of hell.
Yes. Well, if we get tied, we're going to have to do something weird.
We'll see what happens. But,
I mean, those are all really solid ideas. I'd be happy to do a vote here unless something else comes through really quickly.
And if someone else puts one in while we're doing it, I'll put in a 4. So put 1, 2, or 3, depending on whether you want to say it's a nomadic settlement that's a guerrilla war camp, a settlement in hell, or a treetop village. All right. So far
people are voting.
People have voted for their own ideas. They don't always vote for their own
they don't always,
Another vote for the nomadic settlement that is actually an elaborate guerrilla war camp for 15th level or so. So there's 2-1 so far. Mm-hmm. Let's see how the remaining votes come in and whether we're going to build...
Is the proposer of the treetop village going to vote for the treetop village? So a couple people
just came in. So vote 1 for a nomadic settlement guerrilla war camp. Vote 2 for settlement in hell. Or vote 3 for treetop village. And then we will see which one comes out. So there we go.
Oh, the person who proposed 3 actually voted for 2.
So now it's a tie between a settlement in hell and a nomadic settlement that's a guerrilla war camp.
If it remains a tie, then it would be a nomadic settlement, a guerrilla war camp in hell.
In hell.
Yes.
That's right. So let's, for the moment, assume that it is going to be a nomadic settlement that is roving around in hell. That's a guerrilla war camp. So, except Kojo is here and may break the tie. So, Kojo, vote 1 for a nomadic settlement that is a roving war camp. Vote 2 for a settlement in hell. Or vote, 1.5.
5 if you want a nomadic settlement that is a guerrilla war camp in hell, which is what the default will be otherwise. Hell is just kind of hard to work into an arbitrary campaign, says Rico.
Alright, Kojo votes 5 for the one where it is both. Alright, so here we go. So, Oh, it's probably not on Nethys. What are the names of the new like frontliner devils and monsters?
Have they been announced?
Wait, Monster Core has been out for a while.
Monster Core is out now, right? Right, of course.
For months?
Yeah. Okay.
For like 2 months. Haven't they? Hasn't Monster Core been out for like 2 months? Am I wildly?
No, I don't know. It's not on Nethys yet.
Am I wildly wrong?
I'm not saying
Nethys just took so long to get things up because there was a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I know.
When Monster Core came out,
this is the usual thing that happens is that I'm like, wait, is that a thing? And then Mark's like, I don't know, and I'm like, no, this is just me being out of the loop. This is how it goes. Okay. Anyway, so Vordine, yes.
Okay, so there can be probably going to be some Vordines in here, and or bearded devils if you still have OGL devils.
Yes.
So, given that it is
the infantry devils.
Given that it is a guerrilla war camp that is a nomadic settlement in hell, we have to think about this. So, we should make a big top level decision here, which is. It probably is Vordines / Barbazus / actually Govs and Magavs host devils. But is it actually something that isn't devils? That is still a guerrilla war camp that is in hell, that's an incursion that is not from hell? Or
that is attacking hell.
A guerrilla war camp that is in hell, working for one of the factions in hell?
So let's do like one...
It's like from hell or like not from hell. So vote 1 for it being the camp that is in hell is from hell, and vote 2 if they're not from hell, but they're in hell anyway, and that's why they're moving around doing guerrilla warfare. Alright.
Looks like so far folks wanted them to not be from hell.
Yes.
So these are people who, so far it looks like this is a group that is invading hell. And we have a vote for can't decide and a vote for not from hell.
Okay.
I think it's going to be not from hell. So then it's like, who are they that's not from hell? Are they like... Are they from another plane?
If they're not from hell, they're definitionally from another plane.
Are they from like another one of the outer planes that tends to be associated with heaven or something like that? Another fiend type?
Let's narrow it down to another fiend type, a celestial type, or mortals, and then we'll narrow it down further from there.
That sounds good.
There's just too many things that it could be.
Yeah, I was trying to do
So, vote 1 for another type of fiend, vote 2 for some kind of celestial that's come here, or vote 3 for mortals. I'm not going to let it, it's probably not going to be monitors. They monitor things. They're
not like let's go on a giant incursion.
We're going to make a giant battle in
So far, we have 1 vote for each possibility. A second vote for mortals.
Alright, so some kind of mortal is
currently has a lead that's very close. I want to see if we get 1 more vote.
And
changing the vote to 3. Okay, they're mortals.
Alright, so it looks like it is a group of mortals that are in hell. This is not the damned souls of mortals, because those are like those wake up in hell and they're from hell.
Yeah.
But they are mortals who they aren't dead, but they found themselves in hell right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is very interesting.
So I think one thing we should probably figure out is, are they in hell on purpose? Or are they in hell by accident? Like, did they get sent here and now they're trying to figure things out? Or they're like doing an incursion on purpose?
Let's see. So, well, actually, let's just come up with some ideas.
Yeah, that's true, for why they're there, and what they're doing.
Because I feel like by accident is one thing, and on purpose there are a lot of different kinds of purpose reasons, that they could be in here.
So let's get some concepts for why a group of mortals has created a guerrilla war camp in hell.
Yes. That are they're in hell, they're from the mortal realms. So, let's see some ideas. One of them is just like accidentally stranded in hell.
Mm-hmm.
And Rigo says we're about a third of the way to build an adventure workshop. Well, kind of. This settlement is like really weird and has full of adventure hooks. Another one is
probably seeking an infernal contract or something. Like that's one of the classic. Reasons
Although you get like a whole settlement on that. I was also thinking seeking an infernal contract, but then I was thinking like.
Well, I was thinking that this is a guerrilla war camp. It's like what is the reason that they were invading? Are they like are they trying to get soul? Are they trying to get like get souls or contracts or some other thing.
Let's see. We can say looking for something in hell.
Yes.
Just want to fight devils.
Just want to fight devils. Just want to fight / kill devils. Well, are they on the side of... They could also, like, we didn't say who they are. Could they also be, like, fighting for hell? But be mortals anyway?
Yeah, let's see. Mercenaries hired
by
hell.
Yeah. And then they're, like, not allowed to live in the cities with the devils because they're mortals.
Playing out a war game for a contest with the devil style contract. Alright, so we have 6 ideas that I pulled out of chat and just the air. Mm-hmm. So vote for accidentally stranded in hell, looking for something in hell, just want to fight / kill devils, banished to hell by their enemies, mercenaries hired by hell, or playing out a war game for a contest with the devil style contract. One of those, like, beat the devil at a fiddle contest and you get this for free. Lose and your soul is damned for all eternity.
I see a comment in chat. One person, does hell hire people? And the other one, that would explain the random requests I get at least. Sometimes those requests on LinkedIn are like, what do you think I do that has nothing to do with my actual expertise?
Sometimes they're a random AI thing that
claims
that Merrick Garland is going after Paizo for teaching teenagers leaderships and communication skills.
Like one that I got one time. It's like, what is this AI creative writing exercise in my LinkedIn? So far we have 2 votes for 2, 1 for 6, and 1 for 4.
Yes, so 2 is looking for something in hell, 4 is banished by enemies, and 6 is a war game for a contest.
And another person who's torn between 4 and 6.
I see. Well, whichever one they vote for will be in the runoff with 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is true.
It all depends on you or anyone else who wants to vote.
Yeah, Coach is saying, I haven't read anything about you. You should contact me about a job as a pastry chef.
There you go.
2024. Some people cast very wide nets. They'll eventually
you know what?
catch someone.
If they sent that to Linda, it would be less weird than some things, because at least Linda has an aunt who's a pastry chef.
That's true. I'm related to a pastry chef.
She's related in some way to a pastry chef. Not everyone can say that.
That's true. I mean, technically, if you go back far enough, we're all related.
But in like that close, like an aunt is a pastry chef, and now is like a teacher.
After 5d6 rolls, you ended up with a 4. It looks like random dice have said 4.
Random dice have said that they are banished to hell by their enemies.
2 and 4.
And so what they're looking for is an exit. But Sartre has a word with you.
No exit.
About that. So they have been banished to hell, and they're fighting their way to an exit because they're looking for something, and it's an escape.
Yes.
So we're doing 2 and 4. So they may also have some other things that some members want to find before they get out of there, depending on the situation. So this is our settlement. It is a roving war camp that is trying to escape from hell. Now, we kind of don't have alignment anymore after the remaster. However, it may be useful to get a sense of, like, what kind of group of people were banished here to hell.
Are they people who were, like, fighting against forces of hell and then banished to hell? Did they just get banished to hell by, like, some... Like,
were they resistance fighters who were, like, would have been more chaotic back when there were alignments, who were banished by an oppressive regime to hell to just get rid of them? Like, they sent them through a rift into hell, and they're like, well, that problem's been solved. It'll be useful to know, sort of, maybe they've become something different now that they're in hell and they have to survive this environment. But, like, what were they before they were banished to hell? Obviously, the fact that they survived the very beginning means they were already a military group of some kind.
Yes.
So, what kind of military group were they? So, let's just say that they were, the choices are, like, just, like, I guess they could have been a national army.
Mm-hmm.
They could have been a resistance militia.
Yeah.
They could have been a
like a group of. I'm thinking of like a group of heroes. Like,
well, it's a whole settlement worth of people.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It
So it wouldn't be just like
a small group of heroes, but it
Yeah.
could be something that was like some kind of non-government organization.
Like a group that's led by, like a group that was led by like heroes and
Yes.
like a lot of others.
So some kind of organization of meddlers / heroes.
Yes.
A la PFS / Harper's from
Yes.
from Forgotten Realms. I know what you were getting at.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was
That's
hard
not
to-
just a few, but like
like
basically like a group of Pathfinder Society agents were doing an interactive special, and then they got sucked
all
into
of them
hell.
got sucked into
Yeah,
hell. Yeah,
That sort of thing.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So, let's see. And then it could be something like that. Like, who else has all of these kinds of soldiers? Criminal organization.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm also picturing like the enemies try to get back at people by like opening a hell portal and like out of an existing section of a settlement, and then just rip that entire thing into hell.
And then like, all right, so I'm gonna put in 6 options. So vote for National Army, Resistance Militia, Organization of Meddlers / Heroes, a la Pathfinder Society or the Harpers, a criminal organization, some political factions, personal army that is not the National Army, or like a military police force of some kind, which could be like town guards.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will that will give us. We will finally have determined our concept at that point, because this concept is very complicated.
But I think the concept being complicated is going to give us a lot of information about it's going to give us a lot of information about the governmental structure and like all sorts of other things.
We already kind of know what the governmental structure is, unless it's changed a lot since then, which we're going to. Mm-hmm. So at least I came up with some good ideas.
Yeah, you have 4 different
there, because 4 votes, all of which were for different different options. So we've got like pretty much anything goes, except for like a city guard / military police or a criminal organization. So if anyone else who's in chat wants to vote, vote 1 for a national army, 2 for a resistance militia, 3 for meddlers, heroes like Pathfinder Society or Harper organization, 4 for a criminal organization, 5 for political factions, personal army, or 6 for the military police.
Oh, thank you, Kojo. Saying we're too good at ideas. You're trying to pick one.
It's too hard to pick. The ideas are too good. I mean, that's better than it's like these are all
bad.
Garbage.
What am I gonna do?
I just don't.
We got anything. A second vote for something. That's
okay.
great.
It's the meddlers.
Yes.
Those meddlers have been sent there. Into hell.
This is totally what you have happen. It's like a bunch of meddlers go and they confront a powerful foe, and then they all get sent to hell because they. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Legit.
Okay, so the fact that it's meddlers who may have some like particular heroes that are in charge of them or like major people in their organization indicates something that we know about the original governance. So now we have a few questions about what the current government structure is. So
probably leader of initial expedition.
Yes,
could still be in charge.
Basically, yeah, leader of original organization.
Yeah, because it could be that
they're still in charge.
Yes.
Then there is leader of expedition, sub-leader of organization.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because if they still had a way to contact the leader of the organization, they could still be in charge.
Maybe the leader of the organization is even with them. We don't know. Maybe the leader of the expedition is only the sub-leader of the organization. If you want the leader of the original organization to have also been the leader of the expedition, pick 1.
Yeah.
But 2 specifically means it wasn't the leader of the original organization, but it's whoever's there, whoever led the expedition. Then 3 is just like, most leadership died, and this is who we have left.
And I think we have another one. 4 is person. Yeah, coup because
they got us stuck in hell.
Yep.
All right, so our 4 options are the leader of the original organization, just flat out. Like, if this is the Pathfinder Society, it's like the Decemvirate.
They're here.
And they're still doing the exact same structure that they were doing before. Except for they've adapted it to being a roving war camp in hell. Number 2 is, well, we sent out Venture Captain...
Drendel
Drang, and Drang is now to do this, and he got sent to hell with everybody, and Drang is in charge. Number 3 is, well, pretty much everyone died because we're in hell. This is just who's left. And 4 is Drendel Drang woke us up in the middle of the night, and that's why we got stuck in hell. So now, coup.
Okay, looks like everyone's voting for most leadership died.
This is who we have left. Okay. So that suggests that it's not necessarily the same organizational structure that we had before. And
so
Rico says 3 is basically that episode of DS9 with the Red Squad and the Fate Defiant.
Is there like a new single powerful leader who is the one who's in charge? Is it like a democratic system? Is there like a council that's now in charge?
So we know it's a military.
Yes.
So at the very least,
well, it's a group of meddlers.
Yeah, it's a group of meddlers.
So it's not necessarily.
No, but it is a military.
It is a military. That's right.
It was
it is.
We know that it was a group of meddlers that, but the reason why I changed it from being a hero to like an army of people who follow those,
that's
from your idea was because your idea was the only one that initially did not work for being the thing that we actually voted in
the beginning,
which is a nomadic settlement, which is a guerrilla war camp.
Right, yeah.
So it is definitely a military of some kind. However, military does not necessarily mean that it's the same hierarchy.
Oh yeah, so you see they fight over who's the leader. So leadership determined by strength.
So yeah, let's see certain things in here that will fit with what people are saying in chat. So leadership determined by strength is one of them. Another one, leadership determined by success, kick out for a new person when something bad happens. Then we're gonna try
like leadership.
Leadership determined by initial seniority in organization.
And there's probably also one that's like leadership determined by like charisma / organizational skills.
Yes, by personal charisma or leadership skills. All right, so Rico says maybe they pick their leaders at random to throw off whoever's scrying on that.
And that would be 5 then.
5. No leadership / random anarchy. Alright, so we have 1 vote for the leadership is determined by strength. They're in hell, so whoever is personally the strongest can keep it. We have a first time chat from Forlorn Knight. It says
welcome,
it's
Forlorn.
Determined by success, or perhaps maybe more accurately, it's determined by
lack of failure up until this
lack
point.
Of failure. When someone fails, they blame them, and then they kick them out. And for
we have 2 votes for that so far.
We have 2 votes for that so far. So it's like these are the people who kept us alive. Like, everyone was shouting things out.
And we have another vote for
vote for 1.
Yeah, okay. 1 and 2 are definitely...
Yes, Forlorn Knight says it's the scapegoat leadership structure.
5 is basically cult.
I mean, kind of. You could say that 2 is also kind of cult, where they blame the people for the problems whenever something bad happens and then off with their head. Okay, so...
we could potentially
it sounds
combine...
like it's some kind of a mix between...
1 and 2?
Between 1 and 2. Rico
They're
is
talking
saying...
about which is the most temporary, stable, and not enough that adventuring party can significantly influence.
And Rico says that's probably 2. So it sounds like what happens is that there are a lot of dissenting voices, but that ultimately the current warband consists of the people who went with somebody else and as planned that was able to pick things up and survive when everyone else was dying, and so they care a lot about your plans not getting them killed, but also you personal strength.
So then probably what may have happened here is after a previous failure, after a previous catastrophic situation, there was a challenge of strength to determine things, and then because they're like, hey, we're not going to stick with these leaders who messed up.
Yes, they don't want to go with the leaders who made that mistake and who left it with only these survivors because they've not made them so far. Okay, so now that we know this about this settlement in Hell, we've determined a huge amount about their personality, and now we can type in some of the actual settlement information that we need. So let's figure out what our settlement level is next, and what our size is. So actually, let's do our size first. So are we a village, a town, a city, or a metropolis? Also, if we're a metropolis, what
even is going on here?
What?
All right. Let's talk about some of this stuff.
Let's keep in mind. Let's keep pace with the stuff that we're currently doing. I think let's keep in mind the size and number of people of these, which I think was supposed to be somewhere, but in this thing in Nethys, I don't see it. So to be a town, it definitely is normally like
that's over 1,000.
It normally is, but I think some towns can be in the hundreds. As well, but it's usually somewhere around there. Whereas a city is often in the multiple thousands. So like the town of Otari that's listed here is fairly like it's on the bigger side, but it's not at the top. And you're already a metropolis when you're into the tens of thousands too much, like Port Peril with 43,000. Obviously, we didn't have that many people who survived in Hell because what the heck?
Because we already voted for most everyone died. So everyone's voting village or town so far.
I think that it would be ridiculous if it was a city or a metropolis because if a lot of people died to get to that point, then how many people got sent to Hell?
Then you sent more than a metropolis. You sent like an entire country into Hell, and then that isn't really consistent with.
It reminds me of like the time when like Alkenstar produced a certain number of guns per year, and it was like if you multiply that by the number of years, they're like I don't remember it was like 300 guns that have been manufactured in Golarion, of which 5,000 of them are owned by members of the Pathfinder Society.
Yeah, there's about the entire Starstone Isle was sent to Hell. Oh my god. Yeah, I think with a vote for 1 and 2 twos, maybe we say it's a small town.
All right, so that's already actually a hell of a
lot of people. So this definitely tells us
that
some things about this organization.
Shocking, like how the sweep of this organization is beyond
they have like
almost any
so they
other
have like
organization.
800 people or something that are still alive in that case.
And that means they would have had probably
several thousand to start with.
Yes. They might have even had an entire city's worth of people.
So I'm thinking. So I want to go back to
the
thing about. I want to go back to the thing about like an entire giant thing got pulled into Hell because maybe like the base of their entire organization wound up getting pulled into Hell.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
So they got headquarters. They got banished by like an enemy. If it was the Pathfinder Society, it would be like the entire Grand Lodge during a grand convocation.
Got pulled into Hell.
Everything happens then.
Everything happens.
The Aspis Consortium worked together with the Blackfire Adepts to just pull the entire thing into Hell while everybody was there.
Yes, that's what we're talking here for an organization.
Even that probably even that probably wouldn't give you enough people that 800 would survive after a large massacre, but maybe it does. Mm-hmm. In any case,
we'll at the very least determine that the leadership was massacred. Well, so it could be that like some of the most powerful people went off and did certain things and then died.
But why would you lose that much of the leadership and not a significant percentage of the rank and file?
No, you would lose a lot of them too. So
unless they like Alyssa Zadrian did up. You never know.
I think this organization's bigger than the Pathfinder Society.
It probably is.
By a good amount to have something like that.
It probably is, but there are organizations that are because if the organization was essentially a private army, then they need a lot of really low-level people. Whereas to even become a Pathfinder field agent, they vet you and they'll be like, "No, we're not going to let you in unless you pass this test." Whereas for some organizations, they're just like, "Whatever, we need soldiers. We'll take anybody to be considered a squire at least, and we need numbers more than quality." And but then again, the quality's got to be there somewhat because we've survived in Hell. So what level is this settlement? The level means that there is a reliable number of people who are that level. It doesn't mean that everybody in the entire settlement is that level. Mm-hmm. So it's not just like the top 3 people that we list there, but it would be like if they have trained up everyone who survived so that a significant number of them, especially in this soldiery settlement, maybe not their lowest ranking people, but like the next step up, like the second lowest ranking, like someone who's like leads a small group of 10 or fewer people. In other words, they'd have at least 80 of these people who are at this level. Probably that might determine the settlement's level because this is a military. Sometimes you would have fewer than 80 of the people who determine the settlement's level for the maximum level. And wow, Leshy Butt just barely got in there.
Oh, Kingmaker 2 rolls.
Yeah,
Define town as 400 to...
That's what I thought.
Okay.
That's why I said once you get that much... That's why I said 1,400 was on the upper side of town. Once you get that much above that...
But that does let us go to more like 500 for this one instead of 800,
that's true.
Which would be more...
It does go down a little lower, like I had initially thought. So, if we say there's around 500...
Yeah.
Blawbot says it was just a Leshy, so we can't be too harsh with it.
Cute.
It's cute.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's true. Leshy Bot's just a little sleepy tonight. That's all.
It's also obsessed with tacos.
It is.
I
don't understand.
So,
we're talking about Leshy Bot on our Discord server, which you can join at tiny.cc/arcademark if you're not already part of it.
I'll put it on here. But, okay, so let's figure out what level they are. So, if it wasn't 800, if it's 500, there may be 50 people at this level. There's still a decent number of people at this level, and we're surviving in hell. And the rank and file, the lowest ranking people are going to be above that level. And I don't remember the name of the devil that Linda just said was a type of devil, but they're probably about the same level as Barbazzo, which is 5, because if you don't have a devil at level 5, then Hell Knights suddenly can't graduate their exams.
Yes.
So that of all the things that definitely have to replace a devil at that exact level, that one definitely does.
Yeah, so level 5, so that means that...
So, their rank and files better be able to
handle a level
more
5
than
creature,
handle a level 5 creature on their own. Their lowest people. And we're a step up from that may determine the settlement's level. So, I would say that, like, the absolute bare minimum that we can put in here is, like, 8.
Yeah.
And it probably is higher than that. But, let's see what people say in chat. So, put any number from 8... to, like, I don't know, 20. 20 is a little too
20
high.
20 is excessive, because then they're like,
that means that, we're killing... there's multiple ranks above 20, and they're all mythic.
All those mythic people are like, then how did you get sent to hell in the first place? That seems more like a group that went to hell.
Well, maybe they did get sent to hell by a god.
By a god who's like, you get over there and you conquer hell.
Their enemy was a god. They were about to find Norgorber's secrets. His Norgorber's greatest secrets, and so Norgorber just sent them all to hell to get rid of them. Rico says we found out what happened to Aridin. There we go.
Aridin bothered Norgorber one too many times and got sent to hell.
He got sent to hell with a bunch of people, and then nobody trusted him anymore, and so they all decided to blame him for it.
Yep. So far, we have 1 vote for a level, which is 9.
That's right. That's toward the lower end of, like, the possible spectrum for surviving in hell. Forlorn Knights has 7, can solo a level 5 devil. Correct. However, our level for the settlement should not be the level of the lowest ranking surviving soldiers because we've got, like, 500 people, say. And so, if 400 of those are all at the lowest level, those need to be able to handle a level 5 devil. They'd probably be at least level 6. 7 would be better. I agree with you on that. So the next rank up, if there's 50 of them, that would fit the definition of a settlement, which is like, at this level, there should be enough people in that settlement that you can reliably find someone of that level if you need to.
We have another vote
for spellcasting services.
Oh, 2 people, now 10. Around 10, and then the 9 changed to a 10. So
okay. So, let's do it. So, it's 10. I like that because it's kind of scrappy. It's, 10, how can you call level 10 scrappy?
It's hell.
When 10 is, when this is a role-playing game where your power by 10 is pretty high, it's because they're literally in hell. Yeah. It's a relatively scrappy level because that means that their rank and file are probably 7 to 8. They got, like, maybe 50 people who are around level 10, each of which is, responsible for a group of 10 people.
Yeah.
And then they've got their upper leadership, which there's maybe like 5 really high level people who are like doing a round robin for who's actually in charge based on who didn't screw up recently.
Yes.
And they're all the personally strongest, because we want the strongest people to be on there.
Yeah. And
they
then
all have
another
their
one, it's
own
like
ideas.
150 could kill them all, so they have to like do a guerrilla style thing, or like if they had to deal with like large armies of.
And those 5 people who are the strongest weren't the highest ranking in the organization, but we know from the votes that were almost a tie that they were some of the strongest ones. So they were not chosen for leadership skills. They were maybe bad at being leaders. Like one of them could just be a barbarian or something. I don't know. But they some of these 5 were relatively high level. So we need to get some information on these. So let's do this. So this is a town. And we can think of what name they call themselves here. But this is a town.
Our population is roughly
Our
500.
population is around 500. I'll just put 500.
Our government
is military blamocracy.
Blamocracy.
Yes, it's a military blamocracy.
If you mess up, you can't rule anymore.
Yes, it's a military blamocracy. And
our level
is level 10. And is military like one of the random things that you can put next to the town's name, like criminal? Let's find out. So criminal is one of the traits that you can actually put onto a city.
I don't know if there's a list of all the traits here right now, but
I don't know. It's hard to say because it actually isn't linked in this with the criminal trait, but I'll just put the military trait on it.
Yeah, might as well,
because it is a pretty militaristic thing. So it's town, military, level 10.
Yes.
Okay, so it is in hell. So threats, devils, the environment of hell. Blaming each other.
Yes.
For leadership challenges.
Yeah, definitely like providing resources for everyone. I mean, they're the environment I can see being a threat both in terms of like a column of hellfire is going to burn you, but also like how do you find enough food and water and shelter and things like that.
Okay, so here's a question for us. What ancestries do we have, and what religions are popular here? We haven't even figured out if we want this to be like Golarian versus Alucard versus where. So we can just figure out what types of religions. That'll make it easy to use anywhere. But what ancestries do we have? Blaubot says maybe some of them are Leshies, or it's full of Leshies.
Leshies in hell. Poor Leshies. Because hell like doesn't have sunlight, so that would be right, doesn't it?
I mean,
or does it? I never picture.
It may depend on the layers of hell.
It may depend on the layer, yeah. And if you have to like figure out a way to get bottled,
there could be like a giant globe of lava in the sky somewhere. You never know.
I'm not sure. I haven't pictured it as something that had light. I pictured it as like the light comes from the flames, but that might be an accident.
Yeah, and I mean, devils have traditionally had greater dark vision, which you would think they didn't need if hell was like very bright and shiny. In which case, like they need alchemical bottled sunlight or else.
Yes.
So we have some votes for Leshies in chat. Type in any other ancestries that you think would make up this organization, and we'll just put all of them in there. Or type up any kind of religion that you think this organization works for.
If no one else says anything.
Remember, this is a group of meddlers,
yes.
like the Pathfinder Society or the Harpers. They're a powerful NGO, non-government
Arboreals,
organization.
Goran.
So they're plants. Sounds like this is a weird nature faction.
Yes.
Kojo says humans, orcs, half-orcs, and half-elves as well.
So yeah, I mean, this could totally be like a nature faction.
Okay. So, and Nagaji. Okay, we've got it.
Alright. So, humans, orcs.
So, here's what we have. We have humans, orcs, half-orcs, half-elves,
Leshies,
Nagaji,
Leshies, Arboreals,
Goran, and Arboreals.
Yes.
So, in that case, it is a Yeah. So humans and orcs are, like, there's generally more of them in the world. So if you have humans and orcs, you probably have a decent number of those. So I'll just put, we can just say there's 511 total.
Yes.
273 humans, 214 orcs. That's going to be 487. Wait, that's too many.
That's too many. There's not enough left for everybody
else. There's not enough left for everybody else, so I'll put it down by 40 there. That's going to be 447.
Oh, and then I suggested maybe 1 or 2 forlorn elves, too.
And 447, we'll just add in 23 half-orcs, 470. 20 half-elves, that's 490. And then we have 7 Nangaji, 497. 6 Leshies is 503. 5 Gorons is 508. 4 Arboreals is 512. And a couple of Forlorn Elves is 514. So we have 514 that is like mostly humans and orcs at this point.
And that matches populations elsewhere, but it has human, orc, half-orc.
And then I'm going to take down the
orc a bit.
The orcs a bit, add a little more half-orcs so that there are more half-orcs than half-elves.
Add some more Leshies, too, since they were the first one mentioned.
That's correct. I took off 50 from that so we can add more in other places. So that'll be 17 Nangaji, 16 Leshies, 15 Goron, 14 Arboreals. And 2 elves.
Yes.
So they said a couple of elves.
No, there's a mention from GMG talking about the traits. The settlement might have other traits in addition to its type trait. For example, Dwarven Sky Citadel has the dwarf trait since it's built in predominantly occupied by dwarves. The city of Lepidstadt and Ustalav has the academic trait.
There we go.
So it looks like it's more of the like, if you feel like this is something
I feel like this has the military
so yeah, that sounds
because
good.
it is literally a military.
Kojo suggests Leshies are leaders.
I bet one of the leaders
one of our leaders is a Leshie.
So this is very important. We have 5 roughly high-level leaders. I want to know who they are and what sort of faction within the new order they represent. They may not have been part of a faction that was separate in the original organization. But in the new order, they each represent a faction. They each have different ideas, and they each blame the others and then try to get their faction to be in charge when something messes up. And so one of them is going to be the Leshie faction, so which probably gets support from Gorons and Arboreals. And obviously, you have to pander to some number of humans and orcs because there's a lot of them. I mean, it's not a democracy. So we have...
But it's a blameocracy, so if too many people
blame
blame
you... That's correct. So we have at least one of the leaders who's a Leshie. That's for sure. Yeah. I'm just going to say that we're going to have one human and one orc. Just because
there's so many of them, you probably do.
From numbers.
Oh, there's mention of half-orc,
and there could be a half-orc that has support from humans and orcs.
And
I can see that. More? And we can have one more. Maybe it's a Nagaji because it's the most different.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So let's figure out about our 5 leaders. So if anybody is really interested in the Leshie, human, orc, half-orc, or Nagaji leader and wants to propose... Now that there aren't alignments, they just replace them with, like, a word that obviously indicates the original alignment, like daring instead of chaotic, or humorless instead of lawful, or organized instead of lawful. And then you say, we can give, like, a gender if we want, and then the ancestry, which we now already have, and then some noun indicating what type of...
Troubadour, administrator, or some
examples. Yes, it doesn't have to be a class, right? Yeah. Like pirate, administrator, something like that. So if anybody has some ideas to fill in the like blanks before and after the word Leshie with Mad Libs of adjective, gender, we've got the ancestry, and then noun, we can fill those in with the 5 leaders and their level.
Yes.
These levels, leaders are definitely above level 10. They're probably significantly above level 10. And their levels will determine whether or not, if, like, one Pit Fiend comes in, like, without any backup, do they have a chance? Because these 5 leaders, if they actually were together, might be able to hold off the Pit Fiends?
Or are they
just completely
up a river without a paddle?
Yes. So the level of these 5 is definitely going to matter. So Kojo says that the half-orc is a balanced female half-orc homesteader. And being level 9 makes her unusual because most of these leaders are going to be above level 10 because they're higher ranking than the, like, I lead 10 people.
Kojo just said maybe slightly higher level right after that, so.
I see. It wasn't intentionally lower level than that. So, but it may be intentional. This person is a little more balanced, is not the strongest, so has some trouble with that, but tries to make coalitions. So we could go with 11. But being called
homesteader, she's probably one of the more organizationally capable people who has been more instrumental to people's survival.
So we have an adventurous agender Leshy ninja. That what level?
What level is the Leshy?
What level is the Leshy ninja? Again, these leaders are, because we had a secondary vote for lead by the strongest, are probably all higher level than 10, and some of them are likely significantly higher than 10. These are like the 5 people who were the highest level from the survivors of the organization. This is 13. All right, great. Adventurous agender Leshy ninja 13. We can already start to think about this. So the female half-orc homesteader is kind of a, like, let's all work together. We can cooperate. We only survive if we work together.
It's like, okay, here's our logistics. I'm also imagining her being like, okay, here's how we make a settlement. Here's how we survive. Here's how we build a structure. Here's how we don't die out here.
So the Leshy ninja, it might be part of both a nature faction, but also be part of we only survive security by obscurity. We only survive if nobody ever sees us. We can't do these raids as daring.
Oh, like say like a rogue / or can we go with like rogue or spy rather than?
Yeah, I mean we have Rico in the chat who's a Reddit moderator. Let's go with rogue or spy.
Yeah,
as
sounds
a terminology. Good. We can go with I can imagine why. So from the recent trauma. Yeah, I knew it. All
right.
Okay. We'll just go with let's see. Covert operative.
Covert operative. There we go.
That way it's not literally the name of like a class. All right. So, does anyone have an attachment to the human, orc, or Nagaji leader? And want to do something else? Think of a different faction. So, you know what? Nagaji and orc, I don't think can get away with this. So I'm gonna do it with. I'll do one with human, which this is the like. What's like a good adjective for someone who really thinks might makes right? Who is just like completely. Well, I'll just put in bellicose.
Yes, bellicose human barbarian.
Bellicose human. We can go with a bellicose, non-binary human, berserker.
Berserker, yeah, right, because it shouldn't be the name of a class.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't. It can be if we have to. Let's say that the bellicose, non-binary human berserker
is probably the one that punches the hardest. Yes.
And is the highest level person, period.
And they're just like, they're definitely the one that's like strength. Oh, we have an idea for the Nagaji.
Oh, I see.
Level 12, cunning female Nagaji champion of Diem Azul leads a mystery cult.
There we go.
That's cool.
Cunning female Nagaji champion of Diem Azul / mystery cultist. 12. All right, and
so Diem Azul
is Diem Azul like the snake god of jerks?
The god of war, serpent of 80 blades. Patron of aesthetic meditation, bitter renewals, and inordinate retribution.
Yes, it is the snake god of jerks.
From the
game, Curse of the Crimson Throne, where we call them the snake god of jerks because we teleported into a trap where they attacked us. So yes. So it feels like I can already understand some of the things about these factions. So like the Leshy is just like hide. And the homesteader is like work together. The barbarian is like smash.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, based on Diamazul's edicts, you'd probably be like, don't start a fight, but once you're in a fight, finish it.
Yes.
They utterly just erase all traces of defeated foes is among the edicts, but anathema includes provoke a fight.
Yes.
And give mercy to those who provoke a fight against you.
So retribution / vengeance.
Yes.
All right, so the berserker is just like smash our way through, and is like, you know what? I see that other people have plans to find a portal out, but if we bust enough heads, while also making it clear to anyone who survives that we don't even really want to be here, maybe the devils themselves will help us find a portal to get out of here. Whereas the Leshy is like, we just need to hide and search and eventually find it. We should just stay under the radar. And the Nagaji champion is like, we can just be out there, obviously ourselves if we need to, and then
don't provoke them.
We don't provoke them, but if they
come
attack
after us, we
mercilessly annihilate them, so
yes.
they know just don't mess with us. They can deal with us normally. And the half-orc is like, we need to work together and leverage all of our unique strengths to escape from this. We want a more sort of measured, balanced plan, so like middle path. Yes. We can do something that's a little bit of everybody's choice.
So we need a different strategy for
what is the orc? I've chosen something that might have been a stereotypical orc thing to do and put it into the human so that we wouldn't put it with the orc. Also, I'm gonna say that we probably have a male orc.
Yes.
Since
we don't have any.
We do not have any men yet.
Yes.
So I'm gonna already say we have a male orc. That is our orc in this current situation, and that is the only thing I'm going to say about it, and that they're not higher level than the human barbarian, who we know is the male orc is what's to make a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go. So it's a male orc diplomat. I like it. So this is a shrewd male orc diplomat. And let's pick 14. Nobody's 14.
Yeah.
Pretty high level, but mostly in diplomacy. And plan is deal with the devil.
Yes. Perfect.
Which, like, ultimately, some of the other ones are not completely against the fact that you could have a communication, but they want to do it from a position of strength. Whereas the diplomat is just like,
you can't win. You're not going to win against hell.
A position of strength against hell. We might as well just see what deal we can get now before they kill us, and then we negotiate with them for a worse position.
Yeah, exactly. Let's be practical here.
Forlorn Knight says maybe some of them, some of the men in the leadership were some of the ones who got kicked out because they screwed up, and that's why only one of these 5 is a male leader. That's possible.
Yeah,
we don't know, but we have the adventurous agender Leshy covert operative, the bellicose non-binary human berserker, the shrewd male orc diplomat, balanced female half-orc homesteader, and the cunning female Nagaji champion of Diomazul, which is a Golarian deity, so we should put in some religions, and we know
one of them is Diomazul.
One of the religions is Diomazul, so it's probably then like, if you're going to tolerate and deal with Diomazul, then you probably have some other religions that don't like go completely against Diomazul's situation. So if we look at what we know about Diomazul in general, Diomazul is a it is generally considered to be a lawful evil back in the day, and many of their friendships are probably in that same vein. Although ironically, like
so he did allow lawful neutral.
Yeah. I mean, that is
not
true.
Neutral evil.
But not neutral evil. It was focused on things like destruction. Does not like mercy, so obviously doesn't work well with Saren Ray or Shelyn or anything like that. And ironically, Gorum doesn't go along well, even though they're war gods, because Gorum wants to pick a fight. Yeah. And Diomazul only wants to end a fight, does not want to pick a fight.
Well, there be like there could be some other groups that may be coming into conflict among this, and like it didn't their religious differences didn't necessarily matter until they all got thrown into hell together.
That probably is true. So there's at least some Daimazol people. They may be mostly the 17 Nagaji, but you know what?
They're bringing some others over onto their side.
They may bring others onto their side.
What are some of the other religions?
The barbarian who just wants to smash things might worship Gorum. Let's think about one for each of these factions. So we can have like the stealthy Leshy could wind up being either like Norgorber for like secrecy, or wind up and Reaper of Reputations, or actually even the human might be that, or the Leshy might wind up being a naturey one, could representing the nature folks with green faith. Or Gazra or something like that.
We have Goran and Arboreals living here, so you probably have at least one of the...
Let's put in a green faith.
One of the religions that's very typical for...
I'll put a Norgorber somehow. Blaubuck says Norgorber is too dark because this group is like not as kind of evil. That's fair. Then we won't put in a Norgorber. For that, we can put in something else. We've got Green Faith, Gorum, Daomazol. We've got to have something in there for some of these.
So there still would be some. There's still probably something that's associated with secrecy, though, if it's not Norgorber.
Well, the covert operative is Green Faith, actually.
Oh,
so,
right, of
course.
I
guess they're just. So who wants to make the deal with the devil? Maybe Abadar.
Yeah.
So we've got some Abadar
Abadar
in
could
this
be the
group,
diplomat, yeah.
which is interesting because we have the Green Faith and Abadar, so there's tensions. We've got Gorm and Daomazol, so there's tensions.
Tension there, Abadar and Green Faith.
Who's holding the middle line of this and is just like, how is this all staying together with the neutrality person? Like this half-orc who's just like, guys, we can work this out. Like, who could hold that middle line?
Who is holding all of this together anyway? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like, do they have any religious tendencies? Is it like Iomade, who's trying to hold these folks together? Is it like?
Oh my gosh.
Or it's the homesteader who's the
like a Rastal?
Is it a Rastal? Like. Rastal is coming like, come on guys, we're like a family here at this point. We have to survive. I guess they're a homesteader. It's probably a Rastal.
Yeah.
All right. So, which also like.
So I'm gonna go back through sort of like core deities real quick. All right. Abadar, Asmodeus, Callistria, Caden, Desna, Erastil, Gorum, Gosby, Eomade, Rory, Lamashtu, Nethys, Norgorber, Pharasma, Ravaguk, Sarenrae, Shalin, Torag, Urgathoa, Zonkathod.
Okay. I mean that I think we have all the must-haves. So we got this really weird religious group, but you know what? It's not a religious organization, so they could have whatever religion they wanted to until they got sent into hell. All right. So we know what the threats are. And we know that their languages are probably going to be based on... their most common languages are just going to be based on who they've got here. So it's going to be Common, Orc... Common, Orc, Nagaji... do Leshies get Sylvan?
Some of them probably...
What do Leshies get as a language? For an ancestry? Yeah, they do. Yeah. Or Fae. But Fae is a really confusing name for it, so I'm just going to put Sylvan. So one of the only ones that I'm just never going to use the remaster name because of how confusing it is, because a lot of the remaster names are just, I like them. I know there's some that are more contentious. So Common, Orc, Nagaji, Sylvan...
And then, and that should work for,
That's probably the main languages. Obviously, the elves speak elf and etc.
But what are they primarily speaking to each other? Like, Sylvan should probably cover it for, like, the elf and Leshy and Goran and Arboreal level of...
That makes sense to me. So, if anybody has names for either the settlement or one of those 5 leaders that you'd like to put into chat, go ahead. We are going to come up with a special property for this place. So, they are literally in hell. So they're gonna have to have one that's like roving. This settlement is constantly moving around and conducting guerrilla warfare in hell. Therefore, it does not have a single set location. That's important enough that even though mostly it are just things that affect the rules appear in these special qualities, it probably should appear in the special qualities.
I figure that when it comes to things that you could acquire at this settlement, that it's probably harder to get like food and other resources because they have to be careful about those, but they're probably interested in the trade in weapons.
I would say it's difficult to acquire any given commodity since they only have what they've raided from Hell's legions.
Yes.
Thus, even simple supplies require a check to locate. But on the other hand, you might be able to find infernal goods up to level 16.
Yes.
If you're lucky. I will put that actually as a different quality. I'll call it you have what you hold.
Yes. There we go. Like from the River Kingdoms.
Yes, like from the River Kingdoms, because that is an issue that they have, and that is obviously going to affect them. And then rotating leadership. Depending on who is in charge at the moment, the settlement's
priorities change.
Entire demeanor and priorities change dramatically. This shifts after any major setback or failure in leadership. Rotating leadership. Alright, so these are probably our three qualities. Only one of them like directly affects PC's ability to buy or sell, but I think they still belong in the stat block as abilities because one of them changes who's in charge of the settlement. One of them changes where it is on the map. Alright, so and then we can put in here around 50 like lieutenants are level 10 plus, and each lead a group of 10. Most rank and file are level 7 to 8. I'm just putting that like at the bottom underneath everything else. And like this town is the remnants of an enormous organization of meddlers who were sent through a rift to hell at a large convocation of its members.
Due to as retribution from an enemy was it?
Yes, due to an enemy's actions. After some catastrophic failures, the survivors formed a guerrilla military settlement. Alright, so I have now put down all the facts, all the information.
In the meantime, did anybody...
Let's see if we got any names while I was typing that up. Alright.
Oh, Camp Uproot.
Camp Uproot is the name of the settlement.
Or
and
Temperance.
Kojo says Temperance could be the settlement
name. As the name of the settlement, yeah.
Because they need to temper hell. Alright, I'll put those two in here. So we're going to put Temperance versus Camp Uproot. And so vote 1 or 2 for Temperance versus Camp Uproot. Oh, Rico also suggested goodbye because the opposite of hell. Rico's is outraged to have been excluded for goodbye being the opposite of hell.
Hold on. We should put Rico's in there.
3. Rico's troll answer.
If anyone wishes to change their vote.
You can change your vote to 3 if you want. Alright, so we have a split. 2 people say Camp Uproot, 2 people say Temperance.
Does anyone wish to change their vote to Rico's troll answer?
Rico has voted for 3. Rico's troll answer. Thus throwing away his vote for a third-party candidate. Oh, wait. Look. There's some moderator collusion. Now there's an equal number of votes for Rico's troll answer. As for everything else, it's a coalition. Yes, that's a better sounding word for collusion than collusion. Now, if only Elf Turo comes on here and also votes for Rico's troll answer, I just have a feeling Elf would never vote for Rico's troll answer in a vote, because Elf is just like, would be like, I'm too honest with my votes to vote for Rico's troll answer. That's my opinion.
Bubba,
I may be wrong.
Are you changing your vote to Rico's troll answer?
Only if it's called Rico's troll answer instead of goodbye.
Oh my goodness. Well, there's a split 3 ways, which kind of suggests to me that maybe different leaders have different names that they call it.
Yes, maybe they each have a different name for the town.
So, like, maybe the Leshy leader calls it Uproot.
Okay, so we'll say that each of the leaders has a different name for the town. So the Leshy leader calls it Camp Uproot.
Mm-hmm. All right, who calls it
Who
goodbye?
calls it Farewell? Let's see. So we have Camp Uproot, we have Temperance, which is obviously what the balanced person calls
it. Goodbye.
And then...
If I were to, with their lawful ways, I can think of people to name a town Goodbye just to explain it when they ask.
Alright, so who would name it Farewell? I think it's too clever for this.
Maybe the cunning Nagaji?
It's either the Nagaji who's just like, farewell, and then kills them, or like the diplomat who's just like, we just have to leave this place. Maybe the Nagaji. It's farewell. That's the last thing you'll ever hear.
Mm-hmm.
For attacking us. It also rhymes with hell. Farewell.
It does, that's true. I think they said it was called Goodbye, though.
I mean, that's similar. 6 of one, half dozen of another. Alright, so, Oh,
and the Forlorn said the Nagaji would use Camp Uproot, because it also has a militaristic sound to it. So that could let us put Farewell on the diplomat.
That's true.
And then
maybe they both do it, and it's because the Leshy and the Nagaji are both from groups that have a lot fewer people.
Yeah, and then we put Farewell in with the Orc.
And then the Farewell's with the Orc, which is part of their Orc humor. And then the Barbarian says, settlement doesn't need a name.
Yes.
The human Barbarian is like, Berserker's just like, the settlement doesn't need a name. Why are we naming it?
Why are we naming this? We're
this
just here
we're
until we smash
an
away.
army of people. We're not really a settlement. We're just we're like a sword.
Yes.
But you name a sword because it's permanent, whereas we're like a temporary sword. Like we're like a spiritual weapon someone called up with a spell. You don't name that every time. Yep. No use name. Says Kojo. Barbarian gives it a number that just counts up each time they move it. Alright, so we also can have names for these 5 important NPCs. Name changes based on leader.
I mean, that honestly feels like perfect for the rotating blamocracy.
For the rotating blame. Settlement name. Settlement name. I'm writing settlement name in front of the name so that it's very clear what this is when you see it on the Discord. All right, so
does anyone have ideas for names for the Leshy, human, Orc, half Orc, or Nagaji?
All right, so we can call the Leshy Whispering Leaf.
Sounds good.
Kojo says you should name the Leshy.
I don't know. I like Whispering Leaf.
Okay, Linda, you get to name the barbarian.
What is their name?
What is his name? Oh, no, their name. Yes,
Yeah.
it's the non-binary. Right. I got it confused with the fact that the orc was male, but I intentionally didn't make the bellicose barbarian.
I feel like if they are very like direct and to the point, they probably have a short name or a nickname that they use.
Like Kronk.
Let's see. Like, are they gonna go by some nickname that's about, like, smashing devils?
What is their name? Berserker. Maybe their name is Bear.
Bear? Well, I was thinking, like, are they someone who goes by a title instead of a name? Because names are hard. Anyway, I don't know if anyone in the chat has ideas too.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Let's see.
So, I think that the name of
Devil Smasher. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I was trying to get at. Is like,
except for that, like they would have had to have their name like before they were sucked into hell, even if they put Devil Smasher after the end of it.
Yeah, so like this, like quote Devil Smasher.
Rico says Goose, so give me Goose Devil Smasher.
There we go. Goose Devil Smasher.
Goose Devil Smasher.
It's also like their name is Goose, and then they're like, I don't want people calling me Goose while we're in hell. You call me Devil Smasher.
Call me Devil Smasher. So Goose Devil Smasher. There we have it. And so let's see, Nagaji. Let's see.
Ruth Hearthkeeper for the homesteader.
That's there we go. That's a good name for the homesteader. So
what were the Nagaji names?
Let's see. So
did Nagaji names?
What did Nagaji names sound like in general?
Nagaji names Pathfinder.
Maybe the Nagaji's name is Kashyapa, which is the name of a sage who is one of the parents of Naga from mythology.
That works.
Rico suggests... Actually, I should check to make sure that that's the mother of Nagas.
Let's see.
Rather than the father of Nagas.
I see Hiskori, Koravati, Realmava, Risavati.
No. I would say we should use Kadru, which is a feminine name, rather than the name that I said, which is a masculine name. So we can use Kadru, and then we can use Ruth for Ruth Hearthkeeper.
Legit?
For the half orc, and then what we've got left is the regular orc. So that
sample names from Impossible Lands: Adesha, Garisha, Kaya, Kuwana, Onak, etc.
There we go. And do we have orc names that are on here? So like Arcus, Dora, Grask, Kruga, Maja, Mordul,
Mordet,
Olat,
Onyak,
Thurk, Urch,
Unak.
Maybe the name of the shrewd diplomat is Thurk.
Yep, that works. Nice, solid common name.
It's a common name, doesn't stand out, but somehow this diplomat managed to make it to the top.
You gotta have some people in the world who have the common names, okay?
You do. All right. So we've got pretty much everything we need for this settlement. We did it. It took a little longer because the concept was also one that needed to be refined multiple times to figure out why we had a warband in hell.
Rico could potentially still use this with some modification to be a warband elsewhere.
It's not in hell. That's
definitely not in hell, but like a group with all had different ideas of how you're gonna solve your problem.
Also, he needed one that was a level 15 settlement. This at least has one character who's above level 15. Mm-hmm. Honestly, you're hard pressed to have a level 15 settlement, and like honestly, based on the definition of settlement level, it's kind of weird that Golarion even has so many settlements that are level 15 or above.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it in situations like where, like in Hermea, the town guards were like super high level, sometimes for the adventure's necessity.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's a good wrap for the settlement, everyone. Stay here if you're in Twitch to help us vote for the next episode. Bye, everyone, YouTube!
Bye, YouTube!